Successful people think like investors, focusing on long-term growth rather than immediate gratification. It's a mindset shift that makes all the difference. While the average person may focus on the short-term pleasures and desires of today, successful people understand that lasting success doesn't come from quick wins or instant rewards. Instead, it's the consistent strategic efforts over time that build wealth, security, and fulfillment. Thinking like an investor means understanding the value of patience and delayed gratification. Consider how an investor looks at opportunities. When an investor puts money into stocks, real estate, or a business venture, they don't expect to see returns overnight. They understand that value takes time to accumulate. Similarly, successful people understand that the efforts they put into their personal and professional lives today will eventually pay off. It's about planting seeds for the future, knowing that the payoff might not come immediately but will eventually yield a substantial return. This focus on long-term growth is the key to building wealth, not just financially, but in all aspects of life. It's easy to chase after things that bring immediate satisfaction, whether it's material possessions, status, or fleeting moments of pleasure. But the reality is that these things rarely lead to lasting happiness or fulfillment. They can give you a quick high, but that feeling soon fades. Investors, on the other hand, aren't focused on the fleeting moment. They know that true wealth, whether it's financial freedom, personal growth, or happiness, is built over time through patience, discipline, and consistency. For example, when it comes to money, an investor doesn't focus on spending it on things that lose value over time. Instead, they invest in things that appreciate, things that grow and provide returns. They understand that to build real wealth, it's about putting your resources into assets that increase in value, whether it's stocks, bonds, or other long-term investments. Similarly, successful people don't spend all their time and energy on temporary pleasures or short-term distractions. They invest their time, energy, and resources into things that will pay off in the long run: their education, their health, their relationships, and their personal development. The investor knows that some investments may take time to show any returns at all. There are risks involved, but they are willing to take those risks because they understand that the potential for long-term growth is greater than the quick, fleeting satisfaction of short-term spending. Successful people take the same approach. They may forego the short-term rewards of indulging in immediate desires to invest in something more valuable, a skill, an opportunity, or a relationship that will provide them with far greater returns down the road. They understand that it's not about what you can gain right now, but what you can build for the future. This mindset shift doesn't just apply to financial investments. It's about applying the same principles of patience and long-term growth to all areas of life. In relationships, for example, the people who succeed in building meaningful, lasting connections are those who invest time and energy into them over the long term. They understand that relationships require care, effort, and time to develop. They don't expect instant results, but are willing to invest in the process because they know that meaningful connections are worth the investment. In terms of personal development, successful people invest in themselves. They don't expect to change overnight, but they commit to continuous learning, improvement, and growth. They understand that skills and knowledge are assets that increase in value over time. Just like an investor who buys low and holds on to an asset, successful people put time into learning, improving, and refining their abilities, knowing that this will pay off in the long run. Whether it's learning a new language, mastering a new skill, or gaining expertise in a particular field, the return on those investments often far exceeds the effort put in. Another aspect of long-term growth is the ability to endure setbacks and challenges. Investors know that the road to wealth isn't always smooth. There are risks, fluctuations, and unpredictable outcomes. But successful investors don't let short-term losses discourage them. They remain focused on their long-term goals, understanding that setbacks are a part of the process. Successful people apply the same resilience. They understand that challenges are inevitable and often necessary for growth. Instead of quitting when things don't go as planned, they see setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve. The ability to think long-term is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who chase after quick, superficial wins. When you start thinking like an investor, you stop worrying about instant gratification and start focusing on what's truly important. Building something of lasting value, whether it's wealth, personal growth, or meaningful relationships. The key to success is investing your time, energy, and resources in ways that will pay off over time. And just like an investor who waits patiently for their investments to mature, you must have the same patience and perseverance in the pursuit of your own goals. When you focus on long-term growth, you're not just building a life that works for today, you're creating a future that works for you tomorrow. An investor mindset involves making decisions that create future value, not short-term pleasure. It's a shift in thinking that can transform the way you approach everything in life. Most people focus on immediate rewards, whether it's a quick purchase, instant recognition, or a temporary experience. But true success comes when you learn to delay gratification and make decisions that will lead to long-term growth, both personally and professionally. When you think like an investor, your decisions are based on their long-term impact. For example, investors put money into stocks or real estate with the expectation that these investments will grow in value over time. They understand that while there may be short-term fluctuations or challenges, the real value comes from the asset appreciating over the long term. The same principle applies to every area of your life. You must stop focusing on immediate gratification and start focusing on building something that will benefit you in the future. This shift in thinking is essential for achieving lasting success. The problem with focusing on short-term pleasure is that it often leads to impulsive decisions that may feel good in the moment, but don't contribute to long-term goals. For instance, buying a new car or spending money on an expensive vacation may bring joy temporarily, but these things don't build real value. They don't appreciate, and they don't help you achieve your long-term goals. When you focus on creating future value, however, you start making choices that will compound over time and yield greater returns. One of the most powerful aspects of thinking like an investor is understanding the importance of consistency and patience. Just like an investor who continues to put money into their portfolio regularly regardless of market fluctuations, you must consistently invest time, effort, and resources into the areas of your life that matter most. Personal development, for example, doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent effort to build new skills, expand your knowledge, and improve your mindset. You may not see immediate results from reading a book, taking a course, or learning a new skill, but over time, these small investments will compound and lead to significant growth. Similarly, relationships require long-term investment. You can't expect to build deep, meaningful connections if you only focus on the short-term benefits of socializing or networking. Relationships are built on trust, mutual respect, and time spent together. When you invest in the people around you, you're planting seeds that will yield rich rewards in the future. These investments don't always pay off immediately, but they create a foundation of trust and support that will last for years. Another key component of an investor mindset is taking calculated risks. Investors know that not all investments will succeed, but they also know that without taking risks, there is no potential for significant returns. It's the same in life. If you're only willing to play it safe, you're limiting your potential. Successful people take calculated risks because they understand that great rewards often come with a degree of uncertainty, but they also do their due diligence before making any decision, whether it's starting a new business, moving to a new city, or changing careers. They assess the potential risks and rewards and make decisions that will contribute to their long-term success. Thinking like an investor also means prioritizing long-term value over immediate satisfaction. In today's world, we live in a culture of instant gratification. We have access to fast food, quick entertainment, and immediate answers at the click of a button. But this convenience often comes at the expense of long-term growth. When you prioritize long-term value, you start to ask yourself questions like, will this decision bring me closer to my goals? Or how will this action affect my future? By focusing on these long-term outcomes, you begin making decisions that will create lasting value in all aspects of your life. An investor mindset also requires you to be strategic. Just as investors diversify their portfolios to spread risk, successful people diversify their efforts in various areas of life. They don't put all their energy into one area and neglect others. Instead, they invest time and effort into their health, relationships, career, and personal development. They understand that true success comes from a balanced life where each area is nurtured and developed over time. By diversifying your investments in these different areas, you create a foundation that supports long-term success no matter what challenges or changes come your way. Ultimately, thinking like an investor is about shifting your focus from the short term to the long term. It's about making decisions that build value, even if that value is not immediately visible. Whether it's investing in your personal growth, your career, your relationships, or your financial future, the key is to think beyond the present moment and focus on what will pay off over time. It's about developing a mindset that sees opportunities for growth and improvement in every decision. And it's about being willing to invest in yourself and your future, no matter what it takes. When you adopt this mindset, you'll begin to see how your decisions, no matter how small, will compound and create lasting success. Thinking like an investor requires investing in yourself. It's not just about allocating money into stocks or real estate, but about taking the time, effort, and resources to invest in your own development, growth, and future. An investor doesn't expect a return without making the necessary investments first, and this same principle applies to you as an individual. The most important investment you can make is in yourself, because ultimately you are the one who will shape your destiny. When you invest in yourself, you're not just improving your life, you're also setting up the foundation for a prosperous future, no matter what your goals may be. Investing in yourself means prioritizing your education and knowledge. The world is constantly evolving, and to stay ahead, you need to continually learn and adapt. Learning doesn't stop when you leave school. It's a lifelong process. When you invest in acquiring new skills, reading, taking courses, or learning from mentors, you're positioning yourself to grow personally and professionally. Knowledge is one of the few things that can't be taken from you. And the more you invest in expanding your mind, the more valuable you become. The most successful people in the world are those who never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop challenging themselves to think bigger and act bolder. Just like an investor diversifies their portfolio, you should also diversify the ways in which you invest in yourself. This doesn't mean that you need to focus on every single area at once, but rather to intentionally place resources into the areas that will make the biggest impact on your life. For example, if your goal is to achieve financial freedom, investing in learning more about personal finance, wealth-building strategies, and investing principles will give you the tools to succeed. On the other hand, if your goal is to improve your health, you would invest in knowledge about fitness, nutrition, and overall well-being. The key is to understand where you want to go and then invest in acquiring the knowledge and resources that will get you there. Your physical health is another area where you must consistently make investments. The better your health, the more energy and focus you'll have to pursue your goals. When you take care of your body by eating well, exercising, and getting enough sleep, you are investing in your ability to perform at your best. Your body is the vessel that carries you through life, and if you neglect it, you risk limiting your potential. Successful people understand that health is a long-term investment. They know that by treating their bodies with respect, they can maintain high levels of energy, avoid illness, and continue to push forward toward their dreams without being hindered by physical setbacks. In addition to physical health, emotional intelligence and mental well-being are crucial investments. Developing your emotional resilience, improving your mental clarity, and strengthening your mindset are all investments that will pay off exponentially in both your personal and professional life. When you invest in building emotional intelligence, you learn how to better navigate relationships, handle stress, and make decisions that align with your values. Mental clarity helps you focus on what matters most and avoid distractions that can prevent you from achieving your long-term goals. By building these emotional and mental strengths, you're creating a foundation that will support you as you continue to grow and achieve success. One of the most significant investments you can make in yourself is in your network. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage you, challenge you, and hold you accountable is invaluable. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. So it's essential to invest in building relationships with individuals who inspire you to reach higher. A strong network offers support, guidance, opportunities, and sometimes even the chance to collaborate on projects that can accelerate your growth. Investing in people who are aligned with your values and goals is one of the smartest things you can do for your future success. Investing in yourself also means taking risks. Just as an investor takes calculated risks with their financial investments, you too must be willing to take risks in your personal and professional life. This could mean stepping out of your comfort zone, starting a new business, pursuing a career change, or moving to a new city. Taking risks can feel uncomfortable, but it's often through these challenges that you experience the most growth. When you step into the unknown, you stretch your capabilities, learn new skills, and discover just how resilient and capable you really are. Consistency is key when it comes to investing in yourself. Just like financial investments require regular contributions to grow, personal investments require daily attention and care. Whether it's spending time learning, exercising, networking, or building your emotional resilience, the more consistently you invest in yourself, the more significant the returns will be. Success doesn't happen overnight, but the consistent, small actions you take each day will compound over time and lead to incredible personal transformation. When you invest in yourself, you're laying the foundation for long-term success. And the impact is often greater than you can immediately see. By continually improving, learning, and pushing yourself to new heights, you are positioning yourself for greater opportunities and experiences. The more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become, not just to others, but to yourself. The growth you experience when you invest in yourself is a lifelong journey, one that will continue to provide rewards in ways you can't even imagine. When you truly believe that you are worth the investment, you unlock the full potential of what you can achieve. When you start thinking like an investor, you begin to understand the importance of taking responsibility for your life and your actions. This isn't just about managing your money or assets. It's about taking full control of your circumstances, your growth, and your future. Too many people passively wait for life to hand them success, for opportunities to knock on their door, or for someone else to give them a chance. But successful people don't wait for things to happen. They take charge, raise their standards, and make things happen. The only way to truly make lasting change in your life is to take responsibility for it. It starts with understanding that you are the one in control of your future, and that the choices you make today will shape your tomorrow. Taking responsibility for your life means no longer blaming external factors for where you are or how things are going. It means accepting that you are the driver of your life, and that the outcomes you experience are the result of the decisions you've made up until now. Yes, life can throw challenges your way. Yes, things won't always go according to plan. But rather than blaming these challenges, you take ownership of how you react and how you adapt. The moment you start taking full responsibility, you stop being a passive participant in your own life. Instead, you become an active creator of your future. You stop giving away your power to external forces and begin to take back control. For instance, if your career is not where you want it to be, it's easy to blame the economy, your boss, or lack of opportunities. But the truth is, you have the ability to change your career path. You can decide to acquire new skills, network, or change industries altogether. You can take the responsibility to improve your situation. Waiting for someone else to offer you the perfect job or promotion might never happen. But when you take responsibility, you start looking for ways to make it happen for yourself. You put in the effort, learn the things that will make you stand out, and proactively seek opportunities. Taking responsibility also means raising your standards and not settling for less than what you deserve. When you take full responsibility for your life, you stop accepting mediocrity. You stop tolerating poor relationships, bad habits, or a life that doesn't align with your values and goals. Instead, you begin setting higher standards for yourself, for your career, for your health, and for your relationships. You understand that you are worthy of success, happiness, and fulfillment, and you start making decisions that align with those higher standards. This shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires a commitment to personal growth. You must start by looking at your life and identifying where you've been settling for less. Where have you been tolerating mediocrity? Where have you been accepting things that aren't in alignment with your highest potential? When you take responsibility for your life, you become aware of these areas and begin to make conscious decisions to change them. Whether it's your career, your health, or your relationships, you no longer settle for what's comfortable or familiar. You raise your standards and start taking actions that reflect the life you want to create. It's important to understand that taking responsibility doesn't mean that everything will always be easy. Raising your standards often involves making tough decisions and stepping out of your comfort zone. But it's through these challenges that you grow. When you take responsibility, you also take responsibility for your failures. Instead of avoiding failure, you learn from it. Every mistake or setback becomes an opportunity to learn and improve. You don't let failure define you. Instead, you use it as a stepping stone to greater success. This resilience and ability to adapt are what truly set successful people apart. They don't shy away from challenges. They face them head on and learn from the experience. Taking responsibility also involves being honest with yourself. It's easy to lie to ourselves and make excuses, but that doesn't help us grow. When you take full responsibility for your life, you stop making excuses and start being brutally honest about where you are and where you want to go. This level of honesty is crucial for making real progress. It allows you to confront the things that are holding you back and take the necessary steps to overcome them. Whether it's a fear of failure, lack of motivation, or self-doubt, you face these challenges head on and take responsibility for overcoming them. Taking responsibility doesn't mean doing everything on your own. In fact, it involves recognizing when you need help and being willing to ask for it. You can't do everything by yourself, and seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Successful people understand that they don't have to figure everything out alone. They surround themselves with mentors, coaches, and a network of supported people who can help them on their journey. Taking responsibility means understanding that success is a team effort, and you must be willing to build a network of people who can help you grow and succeed. Ultimately, taking responsibility is the key to unlocking your potential. It's the first step in taking control of your life and creating the future you desire. When you raise your standards, stop making excuses, and begin taking consistent action, you will start to see real results. Your life will no longer be dictated by external circumstances, but by the decisions you make and the responsibility you take for your own growth. It's time to take control of your life, raise your standards, and start living the life you deserve. In conclusion, the journey to success starts with taking responsibility for your life and raising your standards. It's about shifting from a passive mindset to an active one, where you are in control of your actions, decisions, and outcomes. When you stop blaming external circumstances and start taking full ownership of your future, you begin to create the life you truly desire. By raising your standards, you stop settling for mediocrity and start striving for excellence in every area of your life. This shift doesn't come without challenges, but with consistent effort, a commitment to personal growth, and resilience in the face of failure, you will transform your life. You have the power to shape your future, and it all begins with taking responsibility and making the conscious decision to raise your standards today.